Joining us now to speak all things cricket is radio and television commentator Mluleki Ntsabo. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Good to be chatting to you. It's a massive achievement with Laura Wolvaardt being nominated for the prestigious Rachael Heyhoe Flint Trophy.
Yes, indeed. I think it's a recognition of the hard work of the South African cricket, and especially in women's cricket. We've been screaming for their recognition. We've been screaming for some cricket action, especially for the women's side, and especially with red ball cricket. We played in the last 4 or 5 years about 2 test matches or 3 test matches, and that doesn't really do them any world of good. And also the way they played when they were hosting the World Cup here at Newlands, and went on all the way to the finals. But it's just a recognition that I think that there's many to come, and especially in that pipeline of South African cricket.
What does it say about her ability to not only be consistent on the field of play, scoring over 1,500 runs, but also to balance that alongside being captain of the team?
It's a role that she assumed reluctantly, I would say, from outside. Of course, her sole focus being to bat first and put the team in good positions. She really took that the responsibility of being a leader, and of course, in the team, having those other players and ex-captains who did the likes of Sinellis, Chloe Tryon, that have been in the leadership position for the South African team. So I think that helped in terms of moving forward. And we had that exchange in terms of Lise, who was our captain initially, over to Laura Wolvaardt, which was quite smooth, and maybe the leadership or the responsibility of her as a leader now probably have really given her a bit of strength in going forward in terms of understanding what is needed for the team as well. As you said, over 1,000 runs. I mean, she's been outstanding for the Proteas.
Where does Laura rank among the other global stars that she's nominated in this category with?
Okay, you mentioned Atapatu, another world beater for Sri Lanka, a leader in her own right as well. So I think the recognition in itself, whether she wins it or not, just means that there's something that she's doing, she's doing right as well, for someone who really had to quit her initial journey to study and focus on cricket. And the way she came back and focused on the game has really taken South Africa to greater heights as well, with the bat and, as you have mentioned, with her leadership skills.
Let's speak a little bit about the fact that our men's team have made it all the way to the ICC World Test final. And with a big smile on my face, because we're a country that doesn't play that much Test cricket. There's been a lot of concern around the type of first-class cricket that we have in the country, and just the amount of play that a lot of the teams are actually getting. And now we're all the way in the final. It's quite extraordinary to think, isn't it? It's a massive achievement for Shukri Conrad and the side.
What a story. A bunch of players that want to play for each other. As you said, it's a story. It's quite a story. Extraordinary. Of course, there are a lot of people that are talking about South Africa at the start of that year. You remember with the SA20 season 2, where South Africa, instead of sending their first team or their first 11, they sent somewhat what you would call a term as a third string team to New Zealand, and they got walloped there. But I think lessons were learned, and especially with some of quite a few of those the players that are playing a huge part in this setup at the moment for South Africa. They are there now. They've learned their experience at the start of it. Yes, we don't play a lot of Test cricket, which is only. I mean, it's a well-known factor as to why we don't play, with England, Australia, and India playing so much of Test cricket, and our finances, of course, don't really add up in terms of us having to play as much as we would have liked. But we are in the final. We've had a great year. As you said, the leadership and management, including Shukri Conrad and also Temba Bavuma, and the way he's led his side with the bat as well. Not a lot of talking. They were just precise in terms of knowing what they needed to do. I remember when there was almost like a number for South Africa, for them to reach this ICC World Test Champion Trophy, Trophy. They needed to win 6 games out of 6, and they've done just about that. I mean, yesterday was just riveting, just to watch them losing those wickets. Temba, and there was Bedingham to follow, Verreynne, and then came Marco Jansen and Kagiso Rabada with that partnership. Wow, that was magnificent, and it just trained everyone to start believing that there is something here with this new management. As you said, Shukri Conrad knows what he's doing with the team. Bunch of lads that really know each other, that played cricket together for a very long time. So I'm very happy, and also a recognition for South Africa, and especially in world cricket.
It gets, I kind of get the sense that it feels a little bit like they've got that Springbok energy about the team, that grittiness, that hardiness that we've so often seen on the rugby front with our World Championship team. And not only that, but a team that are all playing together. But what it's also brought is a lot of criticism now and questions being raised about the way that the points table is scored and the fact that South Africa didn't play in marquee series against England and Australia. Do you think that these are fair comments to be making?
There'll be fair comments coming from England, of course, because they downed the log. They've been deducted points, Vaylen, for slow over rates. So they got punished along the way. They've had so many games to play. Meanwhile, South Africa have only had 6 or so to reach at the pinnacle or to reach at the top. So you can't really... it's not South Africa's fault that they haven't played too many test matches, and the system as well has been there for a while now. I mean, we've had a final before. It's not like it's a new thing with New Zealand, Sri Lanka, namely West Indies, South Africa, Pakistan, not playing as many test matches as the top 3, as I would say, India, Australia and England.
Mluleki and Ntsabo, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing your voice on the second test match.